Get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid, the absolute by far most popular homesteading channel on YouTube that has absolutely nothing to do with homesteading. That's right. What? All that firewood you've been splitting looks like you've got an industrialized firewood operation going on. I know it does, doesn't it? Yeah, we do a little bit of stuff pertaining to homesteading around here, but not much. I'm procrastinating and looking for him, her, it, or they. And going to talk about something that I live by. Something I practice in my life, something that here in the last couple of days I've been saying a lot to my son because he's talked about, I guess, kids judging him at school or kids on his teams, various sports teams judging him because of certain ways he does things. Did you hear that? I clearly heard voices. Watch for the dark figures behind me as we approach the wood line, see if they move. Rewind and listen, you'll see that we are not alone. So, my beautiful bride Dearly, aka Giggly Girl, and myself, something that we are adamant about convincing our son of, and he's convinced of it, but he's human, so every now and then when the people are judging him, it gets to him. We tell him, live life the way you want to live it, despite what others think, as long as you're not harming others, imposing upon them, hurting them or yourself, because the fact of the matter is, people are going to judge you anyway, no matter what you do. No matter what you don't do. I mean, they'll judge you for not doing certain things. And if you do certain things, those certain things they've judged you for not doing, then they're going to judge you for the way you've chosen to do them. Reminds me of the donkey story I've told several times here on this channel. There's a man and a woman on their way to the market. What a beautiful sunset. Perfect timing. I'm procrastinating. That's what I started with. I learned just recently the other day about the benefits of healthy procrastination. I'll share that with you here in a minute. But, there's an old man and an old woman. She's a little bit younger than him, though, a few years younger. They're on their way to the market. They have a donkey to carry their things that they're going to go to the market for. This is third world type situation. So they go through a village and everybody sees them walking. They know they're from a mountaintop. They're going to the market. And they're like, look at those idiots. What fools. They've got a perfectly healthy donkey and they're walking. They should be riding that animal. That's what it's for. So they get on the donkey and start riding it, both of them. And then hear the footsteps. I keep getting my 6. Sounds like it's coming our way. So, guys, we got something coming through these woods. This sounds something big. Let me turn the camera around. I'll tell you stories in a minute. We might have a potential Bigfoot Sasquatch story bombing us today. Coming from multiple directions. There's something in those woods. This is the time of day they like to come snooping around. I'm going to stay right here and talk for a while because something quite loudly crept behind the trees right behind me, center screen, is refusing to come out. So let's use my age-old tried and true potential Bigfoot Sasquatch technique to look away from the camera. But you get my 6. Timestamp anything you may or may not see. So they get on the donkey. They pass the next group of people. And they say, wow, look at those mean, cruel people. They're being inhumane to an animal. It's animal cruelty. Both of them are making that poor animal carry them. So the husband decides he'll get off, let the wife ride the donkey, he'll walk. They pass the next group of people, and they're like, wow, look at that. She's younger than him. It's very chivalrous of him to let her be the one to ride. He's being a gentleman, but she's being such a selfish Karen, even though she wasn't a privileged white woman. She was like a woman of color in a third world country. But whatever they call, their equivalents of Karens over there. Look at her making that old man walk while she rides in comfort. So they change places. So he rides, she walks, and the next group of people, of course, have to judge him for that. They say, look at that, what a misogynistic pig, riding that donkey while he's making his poor wife walk. What a privileged male, or whatever they call the equivalency of that in third world countries, where they don't have the luxury of coming up with such titles and critiques of everything because they've got to worry about where their next meal is coming from. Anyway, you get the point. The fact is, and as we tell our son, people are going to judge you no matter what you do. So live the life you want to live. Who cares? Here's what it was. It's crazy. And I haven't just heard this from kids. I've heard it from adults. Somebody was giving him hell, telling him he was poor and that's why I started the video with the firewood. And plus, that's what I'm procrastinating. I'm putting off splitting the rest of that firewood. But I am going to get to it today. Look, shirt sleeves, it's like 70 degrees the day before Thanksgiving. Some kid gives him hell. A kid on the bus gives him hell because we heat our home with wood in the winter. And I guess in this kid's view, only poor people heat their homes with wood in the winter. Use fireplaces or wood stoves, which is the case for us. Always giving Daniel hell about being poor because we heat with wood, and because our house is over 100 years old, and it's not, it doesn't have all the newest slicing and dicing smart house technology in it, because when it was built, there was no electricity. It doesn't affect Daniel. He tells us these things just as part of our daily routine of talking to our son after school every day about how things went, because our son Daniel, who was born in the Philippines and spent his first 5 years in the Philippines, most of those years, of course, which during time we lived in fishing villages and what they call squatters' barangays. My son knows what true poverty is to such a degree. Children in America do not, especially very privileged children in Albemarle County, Virginia, the Charlottesville area. But he asks the question, why is it that people think you're poor if you heat with wood? And it's funny. Here's the story I told, and I'll tell it now, but I've got to stop procrastinating. Though I did benefit recently from procrastinating in regard to insulating some of our water pipes under our house. We have the newest slicing and dicing stuff there. We paid a pretty penny for our second year here, when we had all the piping and lining and plumbing replaced underneath the house, had it updated to that. I forget what they call it. You guys can put it in the comment section. It's like the highest tech stuff. But still, there were a couple of times last winter when our lines froze. So I was putting off insulating them. Here a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at all of the technology you can get, and of course the best, handiest, dandiest was the most slicingest and dicingest was this like 30-foot long electrical tape that heats. You plug it in, you wrap this thing around your lines from where it comes up out of the ground until it goes up into the house. You wrap the line, and then this thing plugs in. It's got a thermostat on it. It can sense the temperature of the lines, and it kicks on automatically on and off to prevent freezing. You just plug it into like an extension cord, plug it in outside. And I thought, man, that sure is nice. But gosh, this foam stuff that, I always used in the past, anytime I had a situation like this, is a lot cheaper. So I ended up going with the foam stuff. It was half the price. But I haven't put it on yet. And my beautiful bride, Dearly, a.k.a. Giggly Girl, she was like, when are you going to put that stuff on? I'm like, I don't know. I'm procrastinating. They say it's healthy. So she would say, go put it on, you lazy dude guy. And I would be like, oh, I'm getting ready to. I'm figuring out the best way to do it. I'm studying on it, is how we'd say it here in the South or in Appalachistan. Got to study on it for a while before we actually get down there and do it, because there's, multiple ways it can be done. Got to make sure to figure out the best way to do it. So anyway, wake up yesterday morning, I guess it was, and got an email. I've recently started, and this is another thing. Gosh darn it. Yeah, that thing over there, back there in the woods, I'm trying to make it think that we forgot about it and I'm walking away, but I heard it repositioning ever so quietly behind us, and so I've repositioned myself now, and I think we've got it right there on film, smack dab in the center. See that? It's like a doorway of light right there, and standing right there in the doorway, looking and listening. Now, I can't turn my head back to get a better naked eye view, because him, her, it, or they will disappear through the portal through which it may or may not have come through. So you got to watch it, see if it moves. Or not. So anyway, I get up, and I get this email from this company that sells these things, makes or markets these things, sells them on Amazon. It's another thing I'm getting at here. About my son, talking about people judging, etc., etc. See, people love you for various reasons until they find one for which they won't, and then they don't. I'll get to that here in a minute. But they emailed and they said, hey, we've noticed that you've recently started doing some demos on your totally awesome YouTube channel, Homesteading Off the Grid, the absolute most popular homesteading channel on YouTube that has absolutely nothing to do with homesteading. Thinking like, yeah, reading the email. That's true. I've recently started doing such activities. And they said, we would love to send you for free, if you're interested, one of these 30 feet long electrical water pipeline thingamabobs. And all you've got to do is show how to use it and do a demo video, and we'll give you a commission for sales and blah, blah, blah. That's how it goes when you're an affiliate marketer. I don't know if you knew that or not. I'm trying to grow my hair out to look like a rock star one last time, because we're thinking about getting the band back together. And my hair is in that very uncomfortable stage right now where, just as you get it tucked behind your ears to keep it out of your eyes, it comes back. Where'd it go? Oh, I see it. It repositioned. Keep your eyes on it. So I emailed back and I'm like, yeah, man, I'll do that. So it's on the way. So there's an example of how procrastination was beneficial, because now I'm getting that really, really nice thing. And the stuff I got, I procrastinated to the point of like not even opening the package it came in. I guess that's what's in that package. It's the only thing I've ordered recently that's like 4 feet long. But I'll be able to return that because I'm an Amazon Prime member, and I'll get a full refund. And all I've got to do is like go click, 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 and they send me a QRC code or whatever. I take the thing to the UPS store and drop it off, for the local Whole Foods. I don't even have to like box it up. It's great. Then I get a refund. So here in a week or so, when that thingamabob that's electric comes in, I'm going to have to figure out how to put that on there. And then I'll make a video of that. You'll get to see it. It's really neat. But here's another point to that as well. I've recently become an Amazon affiliate, and I'm still learning how to figure that out. I guess, so I opened a storefront here just recently. You've probably seen me plug it on the community timeline here a couple times today as of this recording. Going to push it there more. But I get to put all these products in there that I like or whatever that are hot. And it benefits us. I mean, here's the full disclosure. Like if you buy any of this stuff through my storefront and through my affiliate links, I get a very small commission. So it's like additional ongoing reciprocal revenues Very small in comparison to every other income stream we have, but it's another income stream and it helps. And I've found, people aren't buying my holiday decorations I'm making a woodshed so much, at least not as much as they are buying the stuff off of Amazon that they were going to buy anyway. So why not just, get commissions? Hey, that exfoliating charcoal body scrub stuff you were going to buy anyway? Go to my store here where I've got it listed in holiday specials or under a thing called Skin Lovers. I don't know. You'll see it. I'll put the link in the description box. You can get it from there. I get like 4% or whatever. So I know you're like, that's like 80 cents. Well, it's a lot more than I've been making off of them wooden holiday decorations I've been making in the woodshed. But what's that have to do with people judging? And didn't I say I was going to tell a story about burning wood? Absolutely. This is like those old morning rambles I used to do. Boy, I was procrastinating for the entire day back then. The only difference now is I'm doing it later in the day. I don't have to burn up as much time to get out of splitting that wood down there. That's why I don't do them in the morning anymore. I'd get done. There'd still be enough time left in the day for me to do all those things that the beautiful bride dearly, aka Giggly Girl, kept telling me to do. Sun's down. You can't split firewood in the dark. So I'll finish these stories up and maybe that firewood will be there the next day, which is tomorrow. Oh, it's Thanksgiving. Gonna have some folks over. Can't split wood then. Okay, so anyway, I don't know. I guess some folks aren't so happy the fact that I've become an Amazon affiliate. What they've been saying in the comment section and in the emails I get. I used to have so much respect for you. You're a veteran. Hear that? You got balls the size of grapefruit to go out there in that creepy ass woods behind your house and look for him, her, it, or they, and you're a good family man and all that, but Jeffrey Bezos is of the devil and I hate him, and now you're an Amazon affiliate, so I hate you too. Well, it's really, somebody told me that I'm part of the problem now. That's I've become one of the people who are just watching the world burn. Yeah. So I think I made $12 yesterday as an Amazon affiliate. I'm burning down the freaking planet, brah. $12 a day. So anyway, there's another example of how people will love you for whatever reasons they love you for until they find one for which they don't love you, and then they don't love you anymore. So my military experience, my combat time in Iraq has been totally nixed in the eyes of this one dude because I've become an Amazon affiliate. Okay, brah. But here's the firewood burning story. I think that thing moved on. You see that? You hear that? No, it's just changing positions. So listen, there's this thing called association. I know, for instance, somebody who refuses to burn firewood in their house. They absolutely will not allow it, even though they have a couple of beautiful fireplaces and a very beautiful home. And I have every reason to believe, just from talking to this person, that it's because of their association with burning wood to heat their home during the winter, during childhood. And because they did use wood, they burned wood during their childhood to heat their home. And though, by all of our standards, by everybody watching this video right now, by your standards, this person would certainly be considered affluent today. They certainly would not have been considered affluent during their youth, during their childhood. This person is somebody that I like, somebody that I respect, somebody who has literally worked their ass off their entire lives to provide a better life for themselves today, as well as their children and their family. And they've done that, and they are to be commended. And I can't think of a single negative thing I could say about this individual. It's not, I don't even think it's negative that they don't burn wood. They don't want to burn wood. But as like an armchair psychologist, it's not hard to figure out why that is. They don't like the smell, and I believe it's because they associate that smell with a not too pleasant childhood. Now, that's easy to understand, isn't it? A lot of you are listening. See, I get that. When I smell firewood burning, I have an opposite association. I associate it with wealth. Like, what? I just explained how this other person, who is affluent today, associates the smell of wood smoke with poverty or lack. Okay, I'm not going to go out and say just full bore poverty from their past, but certainly lack, wish for a little more. Yet, how is it that I'm associating it with affluence? It's the opposite. Well, when I was a child, when I was a kid, about my son's age, he's 11 now, he's almost 12, I had a very good childhood friend whose grandfather was probably, well, he was, there's no probably to it. He was one of the most affluent people in our community. Self-made, which was common for the World War II generation. And this is back in Appalachia. This was not in Albemarle County, Virginia, where many among the affluent were born into wealth. This is back where, in an area where if you were affluent, it's because of your doing. You earned it yourself. You worked for it, and saved over time, and in time you became a self-made millionaire. And that was the case for my buddy's grandfather. And I remember going into his grandparents' house. It wasn't often. It was a couple times a month. They were up there in years, and they didn't really want to put up with a bunch of rowdy kids, but we'd go in and they'd feed us, and they were always pleasant, but then they'd send us on our way. But I remember there was this room, this beautiful like living room, like a traditional room. It was one of those houses where, they had the family room. That's where there was a TV, and that's where you could have stuff. But then there was the living room, which just had beautiful furniture, thick carpet that felt like clouds when you walked on it. Beautiful fireplace, and you were not allowed to have stuff in there. No food, no toys, none of that. And I remember just going into that house in the winter, and the old man, the grandfather, he was a World War II veteran, came back from the war, went into business for himself, cornered the market in the entire county, became very wealthy. But he was humble, he was soft-spoken, he never looked down his nose at anybody. He would be sitting in that room in his chair, his overstuffed recliner, whatever it was, and he'd have on his house robe. And man, I didn't even know anybody that had house robes. I have one now. And he'd be reading a book. He had, bookshelves lined with books, or he'd be reading the paper. This was long before the days of the internet and social media, and still had newspapers. If there's anybody under 30 watching this, just Google it. You'll find out what those are. And I would just look, and to me, for my non-affluent eyes, 11-year-old kid, that was the epitome of affluence. Rich old man who'd worked hard his entire life, gone overseas, fought in a war, came home, kept on keeping on, accumulated this giant nest egg for his life and for himself and his family. And now here he is, the victor of his spoils, sitting in that overstuffed chair, reading the book of his choosing, checking his stock prices in the paper, and sitting in front of that beautiful fire on a cold winter's night in Appalachia when there probably was a foot of snow outside and it was 30 degrees at most. And he was the epitome of comfort. And in my eyes, the epitome of someone who had lived a successful life. That's how it's done. Doesn't matter where you start. Doesn't matter where no matter how poor you were born. You go out there, you do the work, you work your ass off, you make sacrifices, and you can end up like that guy. And the whole time, smelling the smoke from that firewood, just and feeling the heat from its burning. And I thought, man, this is the life I want. That's where I want to be when I'm that guy's age. So as you can see, it's quite the opposite of the experience the person I mentioned first had, where, by golly, if they didn't have wood to throw in that wood stove and heat that, home they were in, they were going to freeze to death. This guy, however, was doing it by choice. He certainly could afford those heating bills, but he liked firewood. He liked the ambiance. He liked the serenity of it. And so, I've told that to my son. And so far, I think we're doing a decent job of, again, he does not care. When he's judged, he shares it with us. He tells us about it because we communicate. We talk as a family. We talk every day. We know what's going on in his life. He knows what's going on in ours, and doing our best to try to bring him up. And of course, and I'll end with this because I can't procrastinate entirely. I mean, look at this, man. I got like 3 or 4 loads here I've got to split and add to that down there because it's got to have at least 3 months to dry out before we burn it. But as we always tell him to, I'm going to pass this on and end with this, and then I'm going to go back through the footage and see if I see him, her, it, or they. And remember, I'm putting my Amazon storefront in the description box now, so love me or hate me, for better or worse, my number one responsibility is to take care of this family. And by doing this new job I've gone out and gotten because so many people say I need a job, it's helping me take better care of my family. So the link's in there. So when you do your holiday shopping this year, you're doing it on Amazon, please consider going through my storefront to do it, okay? But again, what I wanted to end with, something we tell our son, and I'm going to pass on to you. Those who mind so much about how you're doing things, those people don't matter. And the people that do matter, like your family, the ones that love you, the ones you love back, they'll never mind. See you for more next time.